this was one of the biggest challenges in running a business, is getting the right people in the right seats. Because let's face it, if you get the wrong people, it'll destroy your business.
Right.
They're the biggest investment in your business.
No
even
question.
More than marketing, in my opinion, right?
We're not just trying to be a home upgrade or a home improvement business. That's what our competitors are. We're trying to create more of a brand, of a lifestyle, of a let us help you be happier. Let's partner together and you'll be happier. And so our brand 100%, no questions asked, has helped us close deals.
All right, here we are yet again for another episode from the Real Concrete Coating Talk Pod. I have another special guest here. He's actually been a client of mine since what? Beginning of last year or mid last year?
Yeah, early to mid last year.
Yeah. So really wanted to bring him on this for this episode because these guys are just crushing it. They're crushing it. And so the idea here is to just kind of show you guys and enlighten you guys that, you know, if you get stuck along the way in your business, that's normal, right? There's normal things that happen. And so let's just move on with this podcast and talk a little bit about what's going on. So do you want to introduce yourself, the name of your company, and what it is that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rudy. Appreciate you having us. So my name is Matt Budahn. I am one of two owners of Bay Custom. We are out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we consider ourselves a home upgrade company, primarily doing lighting and then garage coatings and garage storage.
Love it. So tell me a little bit about like the backstory. Like, how did you get here? You know, where did you, you know what I mean? Like, just like talk about a little bit about your backstory and what led you to want to get into this kind of business.
Yeah, happy to do it. So ultimately what happened was I had a career in a completely different field. I had been with the same company for 16 years, climbing the corporate ladder, if you will. Always kind of had a dream to do my own thing, but used my education and, my professional career. And I just kind of felt like maybe that was it. And so what happened was I got sick of hanging Christmas lights. It's that simple. I love doing it. And I should say I loved the result of it, Rudy, and hated the process. And what happened was I found Trim Light, the brand Trim Light, and my father-in-law owned a roofing and siding company. I was not a part of that business. His employees installed my lights for me, and we were absolutely blown away. We were blown away. 2 weeks later, we put Trim Light on his house, and 2 weeks after that, we started a business. It was really that fast. And so, what worked for me was I was able to start a business on the side, which means that I wasn't pulling from the business right away. I didn't need to rely on the business to provide for me and my family. And so that really helped us get going. My father-in-law ended up passing away unexpectedly. I purchased his share of our business, and that's really how we got started.
Wow, that's amazing. I love it. So how long have you guys been doing this for then? I never thought to ask you that. So
so we started in January of 2020. So we're just over 4 years.
Oh, I love it.
However, I wasn't actually full-time in my business until February of 2021. So we had a whole year, 13 months, I guess, where I was doing it on the side and moonlighting nights and weekends, right? And to be honest, even a couple lunch breaks here and there, right? To keep things going. So that's how we got going.
A lot of sweat equity going on there as well, right? Because you got to build the foundation of this business, and you can't do that if you're, well, you can, like you said, you're moonlighting and you're red-eyeing it and you're doing all these different things trying to build this business so that you could leave the job that you had.
Correct.
And do this full time, right?
Correct. Exactly.
That's amazing. So can you tell me a little bit about your latest success and what's going on, and kind of like tell us a little bit of what attributed to you guys, hitting over $1 million?
Yeah, sure. So, when you asked me this question in our pre-interview, I really wanted to think through, what did contribute to our success, and I came up with 5 pillars.
Nice.
Number one, I knew early on that I did not want this business to rotate around me. I did not want to be the center of this business. I knew that if we were going to grow the business to the aspiration that I want to grow it to, I have to get out of the way. Okay. I don't want to be the smartest one in the room. I don't want to be the most talented one in the room. I don't want to be the most experienced. And so the first pillar for our success was, we luckily found early on, we have to find good people to join the business one way or another. And, sometimes that's a little unnerving, right? You have to delegate and you have to trust, and you might have to pay them more than you want. But, for me, one of our foundations to success was getting number one, getting people, but number two, the right people.
Getting the right people in the right seat, right?
That's right.
And in fact, I just had a podcast interview with Brandon Vaughn. He owns the Wise Coatings franchise, and he's got a lot of other things like HireBus, which is really, really good for recruiting good people. It's got a pipeline in there, this whole thing, and it's like AI generated. You can do behavioral stuff, and it'll actually grade from a scale of 1 to 10 if that person is in the right seat or not, right? And so he created this, and not that I'm going that way, like, I guess it's a shameless plug in a way, but he created it because he found that this was one of the biggest challenges in running a business, is getting the right people in the right seats. Because let's face it, if you get the wrong people, it'll destroy your business.
Right.
They're the biggest investment in your business.
No
even
question.
more than marketing, in my opinion, right?
You're exactly right. So, again, that's why I said people first, right? So, I could have made a pretty decent living being what I consider an owner operator, right? So whatever I'm able to do, I go on the estimates, I sell the job. I might be the foreman on the job. I'm going to take care of the bookkeeping at the end of the day. I could make a pretty decent living doing that, but I can't scale. I cannot scale because I only have as much time as anybody else, right? So, so then for us, it was, okay, we need to find people. And honestly, Rudy, our hit ratio on people is about 25%. So 3 out of 4 don't work out. And this isn't my original thought. I think Gary Vee said it, but hire fast, promote faster, hire fast, fire faster, and promote the fastest. Yeah. So when you find that person, get them in the role as quickly as you can and fill that need, because that person is gonna do just amazing things that you can't do on your own.
Absolutely true. And the funny thing is like you can have the right person in the right seat, but if you don't even have a process or system behind training them or even giving them the tools that they need to get the job done correctly, they can still fail, right? And so can you kind of tell me a little bit about what you guys have done in terms of employees? You got this thing dialed in, you got the right people, 3 out of 4 don't work out. That sounds pretty normal to me. I've been through quite a few employees myself, right?
Right.
But when you do find that right one, you want to be able to hold on to those ones, right? So can you tell me a little bit about some of the stuff that you're doing to make sure that does happen?
Sure, absolutely. I'll give you 2 examples. The first example is a salesperson. So we don't want to be high pressure. We don't want to be gimmicky. We don't have fake discounts. We're proud of our product. We're proud of our service. And you're getting Bay Custom, right? So we don't participate in any of that. So when you're looking to add a salesperson, I'm looking for someone that's a relationship person.
Yep.
I'm looking for someone that can communicate well. And, here's an example. If I'm in Home Depot and I see an acquaintance in the other aisle, me personally, I'm like, let me go this way. I don't really want to run into them right now. Whereas a true salesperson, a relationship person, is going to say, let's go over there. Let's say hi. Let's see what he's up to. And so that profile, that profile, you need to find it. And once you do, it's unreal. And so like literally within 6 months of starting the business, I realized that's not me naturally.
Yeah.
And if that's not me naturally, I got to go find that profile. The second one is, and again, we're just building that avatar. Who are we looking for? The second one, one of our leads, one of our crew leads, and actually he's helped me and he pushes me, is a Marine, and he's very regimented. He's very structural. The dress code is the dress code. There's nothing gray about it, as an example, right? And it's all processes. It's all, we're going to follow this together. And, again, you got to find define that avatar and then do your best to find it. And when you do, the dots will connect.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not just with salespeople. I mean, the whole brand revolves around customer service and the customer experience and their perception, right? So if you're pulling up in a rusty bucket, and your guys make sure maybe they have a uniform or a shirt on with your logo on it, but they're wearing, camouflage cargo shorts, like it's not exactly a good representation of your company.
Right.
And you looking just like everyone else does. And this is the experience that most customers get, is you're just like everyone else. So now you're a commodity to them. They don't care about, anything else but getting the better price, because if you're going to look exactly the same as them, then why are they paying, let's say, $1,000 more for a garage floor with you than with a competitor, when you guys all look the same and you act the same and the experience is the same, right?
Exactly.
So having that brand is so important. Excuse me, I'm still trying to get over a cold here, but I just feel like it's super important to have the right people in the right seats, like you say, have a good process in place for them to be able to have the right tools and to be trained effectively, whether it's videos, like the way we're doing with Clean My Dirty Gutters. I don't know if I told you about me and
I've been watching.
Yeah. So, the same process, and Brandon Vaughn did the same thing that you're doing, right? He's like, I want to have a business that I am hands off, where I'm just building the foundation of this thing, and we're doing the training, we're doing the right hiring, we're doing all these different things. We're creating an amazing brand because we might want to franchise this thing, right? And so you can't do any of those things unless you put all these foundational elements in your business right away, as soon as you can, right? Like as an owner operator, it's a lot more difficult, right? Because you're out doing the work, you get home, you're tired, and now you got to print out your receipts, and then you got to take your, and you got to do all your stuff, and you got to, follow up with leads that you forgot to follow up with yesterday, which is not a good idea, by the way.
Right.
Like all of this stuff that happens, it can get extremely daunting and exhausting for an owner operator, right? But if you think long term and you think about, okay, what do I really want in my business? How do I want that business to serve me instead of the other way around? And then you start putting all the little pieces together. And then before you know it, you're sitting in the office and you're doing the SOPs, you're refining, and you're changing things, and you're growing. And you might be able to be home by dinner and spend time with your family and on the weekends, right?
That's right.
Maybe you can even go on those trips and you can do these different things. There's so much value in doing this. And you know what? I think from a lot of people who are listening to this, you probably have been there or are there now. And I was there, and I'm pretty sure you were there too. Like you were saying, like you got to the point where you just got tired of being on the ladders. That was the reason why I sold Rudy's Window Cleaning and my Christmas light companies, because I got tired of doing all that kind of work. Marketing was my thing anyway. But the truth is like I was always in my own way. And I think from like an owner operator perspective, like if you really want this thing to work, then you got to think way out of the box, and you got to think in the future. Like, how do I want this thing to work for me? Right. And I guess the point what I was going to say is we aren't the ones that do the best work, right? Sure, things may not get done as quickly, or there might be mistakes, but you got to allow for that to happen, right? They need to screw up. They need to fail a little bit, right? So that's a coaching lesson. You can teach them, guide them, and they'll respect you for that.
Absolutely. Right? I agree completely. Yeah. So, that's, I am I am rarely on a job site, in all honesty. We have 9 employees. I have a business partner and myself. And, you know, if I am on the job site, then we're not growing. And, you know, my role and my responsibility is to, you know, it's my vision, right? And so I need to make sure that I've got the vision. I need to make sure then in my mind that I'm clear, because there's a million things I can do to improve this business. There's a million things. Every aspect of this business, in my opinion, I could improve, but you can't do it all. So I need clarity. And then, which a lot of people fail at, including me at a lot of times, I need to be able to communicate that to the rest of the team. And when that happens, right, that's when the magic starts. Because if I'm clear, if I've got clarity in my own mind, I don't know if you can see my, you know, my pictures back here, but they say, remember why you started, focus, mindset is everything, and grind, work harder, nobody cares. Okay. So that's my reminder, right? Like, it starts in your mind, get clear, then be able to communicate that, and then bust your ass, get to work. And, you know, we've been able to do that. I don't know if you can hear the banging around in the background, but we're getting a new roof today on a building that we bought in June, 4 years in. So we have a 5,000 square foot building that, you know, again, is only adding to the equity of our business.
That's amazing. Yeah, I saw that post on your Facebook the other day where you guys have like, you're going to have like a showroom in there. People can come physically look at stuff like that. That is what differentiates you, from everyone else. You're showing the world or your community that you are stepping up to be the best.
Right.
And people aren't stupid. They see that, right? Just as clearly as they would perceive you in another way when you're not branded well, or you're, you know, you guys are missing all front teeth and he's your sales guy or whatever, right? Like that's not a good reputation of, or representation of your business, right?
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about the branding side a little bit. I know we kind of went there, but can you kind of tell me a little bit about how you feel like how that branding has really helped your business in terms of, you know, decommoditizing your business and making people see that, you know, because you just said early on that you don't really focus on the competitors or what they're charging. Like, you're focused on your brand and what you're communicating to the client. Or the customer? Can you kind of tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, you bet. And that's accurate. So, you know, for those that are watching on YouTube, you can see the hoodie, right? So, our brand is Be Happier. Our brand is Be Happier. And so we're very bold and bright. Our color is pink. What that means is whether you're stepping onto a brand new floor and it's not only aesthetically pleasing, but it's not slippery and it's covered up all your ugly concrete, or you come home and your lights are, you know, Valentine's Day colors right now. It's just that reoccurring surges of happiness, right? That's what we're trying to be. We're not just trying to be a home upgrade or a home improvement business. That's what our competitors are. We're trying to create more of a brand, of a lifestyle, of a let us help you be happier. Let's partner together and you'll be happier. And so our brand 100%, no questions asked, has helped us close deals. They see our pink vehicle out and about in town, or they see our guys with hoodies. People ask us for hoodies, right? Like, they're asking to wear our company name and logo. It's cool. You know, and so and now we've got a building, we've got 14,000 cars driving by, you know, a day. And we're going to do some really cool things in front of our building to capture even more focus and more attention. And what we decided early on when we were doing, you know, permanent holiday lighting and concrete coatings, they don't really match. So people are like, why? So you do that and then you do this, and it was all confusing, right? So of course we do. We're Bay Custom. So that's the mindset, right? That's the mindset, which is we're a branded house, which means we're Bay Custom, but we do these 4 or 5 different services or provide these different services and different products. But we want them to know Bay Custom, and that's how we're doing it.
I love that, man. That's actually huge because, okay, let me ask you this. For the guys who are owner operator, let's say they're just even starting out into the garage floor coating like industry, right? Like they're just getting going. They're thinking about their marketing. They're thinking about, oh, I need leads. When do you think is an appropriate time, knowing that all their investment in the beginning is equipment, right? Getting things off the ground. They got to buy a trailer or a van or whatever, but yet they're kind of like a little bit like thinned out money wise, like capital wise, to get this thing off the ground, and they don't really have the budget for getting into the branding thing yet. So can you kind of tell me a little bit about when do you think would be a good time for somebody to really kind of get that going?
I can give you an idea, but what I will tell you, Rudy, is that we have tried really hard to spend 10% of our revenue since day one on marketing. Okay. So in our business, whoever controls the leads controls the business, quite honestly. Now when we go there and we're professional and we show up and we're branded, that obviously helps, no doubt. But if we're not getting leads, none of the rest of it matters.
Exactly.
And so for us, we found a way since day one to make sure that that's part of it. That is part of the solution. It just has to be. However, if your funds are limited, one of the things that you promote that we really buy into is do the 5 rounds. You can go get some door hangers made up for a few $100, and every single job that you're at, those 5 neighbors need a door hanger. It literally doesn't. It literally costs nothing, right?
Yeah, and it can even be incentivized if you wanted to. Like if these guys are really having a hard time with it, I don't know why they would. I mean, it doesn't take very long. And for those who don't know what 5 round is, literally when it hit, and remember, neighbors watch, they hear, like they're, you're making a lot of noise grinding on the floor, right? You got the vacuum, got the generator, or whatever it is that you got going on in the grinder, and all this stuff's happening. People start peeping through their windows and they're going to, what's going on over there, right? And they'll see that there's work being done in this garage, and then they're curious. They want to know, is that neighbor going to look better than me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing over there that I want? Right? And so all this stuff matters. You can put a lawn sign out or a nice big sign that says, epoxy floor coating, in progress, or garage floor coating in progress, or whatever your system is, right? Garage storage in progress, whatever it might be. And then they're going to want to know what to do about that. They're going to be like, okay, some will actually literally walk over and be like, what's going on?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
But really at the end of the day, these people are going to be like, okay, what is happening? And some may not want to go over there. Right? So 5 round is basically, if let's say you got a crew of 2 guys, right? Or 3, 2 guys are packing everything up. One guy just takes 5 of those door hangers, walks across the street into the first 3 that can see the house, 1 on each side of the house that you're working on. That's it. And the advantage to that is in time, this thing starts to snowball. Now you're back in that area again. So they see your vehicles, they see the noise, they know what's going on. They might get a door hanger multiple times before they decide to give you a call, right?
Right.
And so that's how you dominate an area.
Sure.
Really. And like you said, it's not expensive. You can buy 500 door hangers. That'll last you quite a long time. Right.
Right.
And so it really isn't that hard. And if these guys are really not doing a good job, you could incentivize it. They just put a little initial on the back or something like that. And then just have a system where it's like, okay, at the end of the month, you did X door hangers, and this was the amount that you were supposed to do. So here's $25 gift card or whatever it might be. Right.
Absolutely.
And the guys love that. It's extra money for them.
Right.
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 And so there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. And like you say, owner operator, that would be the perfect way to do it. Lawn signs, if you can't wrap a vehicle yet, door hangers and lawn signs would be a really good way to start.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So kind of going back a little bit through your journey of growing this thing, what do you think is like, what was the biggest challenges that you faced over the past, let's say, year?
Yeah, sure. So I know it might sound cliche, but people has been the biggest challenge. I expect that will remain. We're trying hard to create systems to recruit, train, and retain, right? That's the goal. So, you know, when we get people in and they fit a need, we try to promote them really quickly, right? And that's both with responsibility and compensation. And that's our goal there. I expect that that's going to continue to be a challenge. But then honestly, Rudy, too, you know, we've been working with you now this year, and you're the fifth marketing agency that we've worked with. The first four didn't do it for us. And you know, we've spent some time trying to understand our metrics a little bit more than we have in the past. So that certainly helps us.
Yep.
But again, I always say it this way: nothing matters until you have a lead. Okay. You can even have a wrapped vehicle. You can have all your products figured out. You can have the best equipment. You can have installers, but none of that matters if you haven't closed a sale. It happens. There's a lot that happens. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yep.
But none of it matters. Right. And so we have kind of realized that, especially starting out. So for like the owner operators and some of the smaller coating companies like ourselves, the referrals aren't quite there yet. That's obviously the long-term goal, but they're not there yet. So we do need to advertise, and we do need strong lead generation campaigns, because that's how we're getting business.
But that's marketing, though. Like that is like you said, right? That is just, if you put it in as part of your KPIs, as part of running a business, just like having to put money away for tax or payroll, whatever it might be, it's no different. It's just part of running a business, right? So you're 10%, right? Like it can be anywhere from 7 to 10%. Depends on how fast and how aggressive you want to grow, right? And having, like, I see so many times in these Facebook forums where everything is just referral. That instantly tells me that it's you and a helper, or you and a couple of guys, right? That instantly tells me that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Maybe that's good for you and that's what you want. Referrals are obviously the best form, right? Because unless you mess it up, you pretty much a shoe-in, right? Or if it's like, I talked to a guy the other day, a prospect, and he's all referrals, but he wants to like double, triple his business. And now that's why he's come to me.
Sure.
Right. But his referrals are on the commercial side, where he gets these big, huge jobs, and he can do like 4 of them and he's set. Right. And so we're trying to like shift things a little bit, and he still struggles with filling in the gaps. And he's like, well, I got guys who don't work for 2-3 days, and then I, obviously have to pay them. And so we're trying to figure that out. Right. But that's why digital marketing, or any marketing for that matter, other than just like referrals, is important. Everything works together and it matters. Right. It just depends on how far you want to take this thing, really, at the end of the day. Right.
Sure. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think I told you this story, but, we just obviously had our end of year review with our accountant, and we did some tax planning for this year. And, one of the takeaways was, you might want to check your marketing spend, because it seems to be, does it need to be that high? And my response was, it needs to be higher. It needs to be higher. So, again, I said it early on, but we really believe that marketing needs to remain a foundation of the business if we want to scale the way that we do.
Absolutely. And like for me, same thing. Like I had my bookkeeper reach out because I have this coaching program that I'm in. It's not cheap, right? But it's valuable to me and the growth of my agency, right? These guys crush it for me, right? And the first thing she said is like, who is this guy and why are you paying so much money?
Yeah.
Like, I think the government's going to come back and ask questions. I'm like, go ahead, let them ask questions. I don't care.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do.
It's part of running a business for me. Right.
Absolutely.
And so, you got to just look at the metrics. That's the bookkeeper's job or the accountant's job, right? They're supposed to come back to you and be like, hold you accountable to what you're doing. Right.
Well, then they're also reactionary. So think of it that way, right? They're looking at things that already happened in the past, whereas my mind is what's happening, down the road. So it was interesting, right? And so the takeaway is, that expense is going to be there, if not more.
Yep. It just depends on what you want, right?
Right.
So what would you really want to say, like, if you were to summarize this whole thing, what would you want to say to people like who are listening to this and they're struggling to move forward and they're just having a tough time getting things like figured out?
Sure. Really for me, it's you got to find people that are better than you in whatever aspect that you're missing. Right. And it's unnerving. It's an uncomfortable feeling, man. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay that person. I know a good quality guy. He's a realtor. The real estate market's down right now, but I know what he's expecting to pay. I can't pay it. Well, you might not be able to afford not to. So
Exactly.
so again, for us, it has been unnerving, but we've got some quality individuals on our team. I would say some A people on our team now. And, the other week, my business partner and I, we had to run to a meeting, and he goes to me, do you realize there's two people in our conference room meeting together, trying to figure out how to better grow our business? And it was like, bingo, right? That's the goal, right? So my advice is, for those that are stuck in the mud, you need something to cut free. And for me, it's find somebody that's more talented in the areas that you're lacking and go get them.
And delegate. Right.
That's
My
right.
coach would always say this, like, sometimes I tell him like, I'm super overwhelmed, like with all this stuff. He's like, okay, well, let's just back up a little bit here for a second. Right. Like, he's like, okay, list out all the things that are driving you crazy right now. All the things that you hate doing, right? All the things that you love doing, and all the things that you're okay at doing. The first thing you do is you take all the stuff that are bogging you down that you hate doing, and you delegate it. You delegate it. Even if that means you have to get an office manager, right?
Sure.
Somebody to handle the phone, somebody to handle spreadsheets, somebody to handle all these things that they're way better at than you.
Right.
Right. And then you look at the things that you love doing, focus on that. I'm not saying don't like completely remove all the things that sometimes we just got to do those hard things, right? We just have to, right? And then all the stuff that you're okay at, you can decide whether or not you can delegate it or just kind of like put it on your list of things to do. Right. I don't know. For me, it's always worked well that way.
Sure.
Right.
I like it.
It's a lot easier to find a person because you can like literally break out all the things that you hate doing and you can theme those tasks into a role.
Right.
And guess what? Now you can have a job description explaining exactly what the role is just because you've just taken all of that off your plate and it's almost like you created a position, but you can look at it and be like, okay, that's actually an admin position.
Yeah. No, exactly. Right? And not to mention, in addition to that, then, so I've got this friend, and he's constantly asking me to do things during the day. Like, let's go hit the golf simulator. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I'm like, buddy, don't you got things to do? And his response was, I figured out that every task that I do repeatedly, somebody else needs to do it.
Yep.
And so he does in his business, he's got free time. That's why he started it, right? He's got the freedom because he's been able to figure out anything repetitious is not something that needs to be on my plate. Kind of like you're saying, whether you like it or not, find a way to delegate it. And then if freedom is what you're ultimately after, great. If not, now you've freed up your time to do the things that you do want to do.
100%. And like, there's so many authors that write about this too, right? Like there's Tim Ferriss with the 4-Hour Work Week. There's Michael Gerber with, what's it called now? E-Myth Mastery is probably one of the best books any service business owner should read. I mean, it's a Bible, or you can do the Audible, right? But like, it's so important because he talks all about this. Like, this stuff is real, guys. This isn't just me and Matt, wasting time chit-chatting. Like, this is valuable stuff, guys. And I think that if you really go deep into that kind of stuff, it's going to change your life, not just your business, but changing your business moving forward will change your life. Like,
right.
It's huge.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, to kind of come full circle here, Rudy, that's why I started a business. I wanted freedom and I wanted options in life. And I was doing a really, really good job building someone else's dream, right?
Yeah.
When I was an employee, I was doing a really good job. I was a great employee, right? I climbed the ladder. I was promoted multiple times. I was even on the leadership team by the time I left. But I was making the owner very wealthy. And I figured about my time. It's about my time. And it's been a roller coaster. The other thing that I find when I'm overwhelmed, what I find comforting is it's not as bad as you think, but it's also not as good as you think. And as long as you keep that even keel and just keep grinding away day by day, things start to shape, to come into shape.
And that's the motivation. And trust us, guys, like guys and gals. You'll start to see when things start to shift, right? Like you're gonna be, holy man, like this is actually working. Like, wow, like I actually could probably take the afternoon off today if I wanted. If I wanted to, I could, right?
Right.
Like this is pretty, like it's a good feeling because you built that. You created that environment for yourself.
Correct.
Right. And that's so critical. That's the whole reason of being in business.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, man, thank you for spending the time with me today. I'm pretty sure all the listeners and the watchers today will like really, really see value in this, man. It was like really, really important. I really appreciate you taking the time out.
Awesome, Rudy. I appreciate you having me. I enjoyed the conversation.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks. And we'll talk to you again.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye-bye.